Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today is Monday, which means it's time for an episode of Loadout, the series where you guys, the viewers, get to pick a gun and customization for me to use. The way you do this is you leave a comment down below letting me know what kind of gun and accessories you'd like me to run with, and I will pick one of the top rated comments for the next episode. Today's top comment comes from Private Azib. He says, classic Counter-Strike terrorist loadout, AK-74M since it's a descendant of the AK-47, iron sights and heavy barrel, G18 for a sidearm, M320 smoke equivalent of the smoke grenade in Counter-Strike, defib squad perk of your choice. Now, it's always been difficult for me to give up the med pack for a smoke grenade launcher, but you know what, the smoke grenade launcher really is incredibly useful. Whether you're using it on defense or offense, you can always find a situation to put down some smoke to flank your targets. Usually people just aren't expecting it and don't really know how to get ready to counter somebody who's using smoke to their advantage. Oftentimes you'll put down a smoke grenade, people think that you're going to run right through it, so they'll set up to aim you down, and you can easily just run around it and shoot all the guys waiting for somebody to come right through the smoke. Now, if I could only have my smoke and med pack, I would be one happy camper. Now, how about this AK-74M? I remember several patches ago, this was quite a few months back actually, where the AK-74M got some nice recoil enhancements. I believe it also got a reload speed increase, and for a while people were thinking that it could be the new King assault rifle. We certainly were testing it out, and there were some people who were thinking it was going to be, but it kind of fell out of favor quick. It's not that it's a bad assault rifle, it's just in Battlefield, time to kill is really so important, and sadly the AK-74M has 650 rounds per minute rate of fire. Now, if this were an AK-47 with a 650 round per minute rate of fire, it wouldn't be as big of a problem because the AK-47 is known for shooting the 762 round, while the AK-74M shoots the 545, which is basically equivalent to the NATO round in terms of damage. So the AK-74 does 25 damage maximum, whereas the AK-74, were to actually be a Battlefield 3 gun, would be doing 34 maximum damage, considering that the G3A3 shoots the 762 round, and that does 34 max. So what I'm getting at here is, yes, the AK-74 looks a lot like the AK-47, but it's just not going to hit anywhere near as hard or recreate any sort of the same feeling that perhaps a Counter-Strike player might remember from the AK-47. However, I do appreciate the time that DICE spent on making this gun look like it was battle worn. This thing has paint chips, scratches, it looks like it's been disassembled, reassembled like 100 times, and I just kind of like that look. It would be neat if they added a little bit more of that wear and tear look to some of the other guns in there. I know the M16 actually has that same look, and I think it's cool that they made the default guns, at least for each faction, look like they have a huge amount of use to them, and then once you start upgrading to some newer guns, they have less scratching and wear and tear. But the AK-74 and M16 both have that awesome paint job. Alright, let's delve into some gun stats of the AK-74M, talk about what it does well, what it does potentially really well, and that is accuracy. Yes, it doesn't have that great rate of fire, but it also has very little recoil. Now, its vertical recoil might seem a little bit higher if you're looking at the weapon charts, but you also have to remember that this recoil is only applied once per shot. Since it has one of the slowest rates of fire of any of the assault rifles, you're just not going to be experiencing that low recoil. It also has almost like non-existent side-to-side recoil, with a left pull of 0.2 and a right pull of 0.3. It's very low on the recoil chart. Combining that with, again, the extremely low rate of fire, this thing is going to be very easy to manage. Also, a stat that's easily overlooked is the first shot multiplier. Guns like, say, the M16A3 have a first shot multiplier of 2.5. That means the gun is going to kick 2.5 times more on its first shot than it does on all the follow-up shots. This means that you're going to need a little bit of recoil control to sort of steady out the gun after that first shot. Just get used to that first recoil. The AK-74M, on the other hand, aside from having a low recoil overall, also has only a 1.5 times multiplier. Again, you're going to need to do very little recoil management with this weapon. You aim at the target, start firing, it will die eventually. As do most assault rifles, this has a very good aiming down sight initial accuracy of 0.2. That means that your starting out bullet spread is going to be very accurate, so you can hit targets at medium and long range with relative ease. The hip fire is an average 2.5, not the best. A lot of the bullpup guns have a 2.0 hip fire for the assault rifles anyway. But you can still definitely hip fire somebody in very close quarters, though you're going to probably want to remain aiming down sights. The damage drop off of this weapon is exactly the same as every other assault rifle aside from the G3A3, which means it does 25 maximum damage at 8 meters. Then the drop off starts and it goes all the way down to 18.4 damage per shot, all the way out at 50 meters. This means that you can still 5-shot kill somebody at up to around 35 meters. Now how about this loadout here? Heavy barrel, can't argue with that. Any gun that's accurate that you want to use at range, heavy barrel is going to help with that. Great choice here. As far as the iron sights go, they're not so bad. You know, there's pretty much no reason to use iron sights if you don't have to, just because any red dot sight is going to give you a better field of view. But if you want that authentic feel, then iron sights are definitely going to look cool. And you guys know me, I love my Cobra or red dot. I feel like there were a few kills while I was playing that I definitely could have gotten or seen at least a little bit sooner if I was using a Cobra or red dot. Targets will get concealed in the body of the gun, or sometimes you'll be trying to track a target and you just kind of use them because the body of the gun's shaking around, or it's just concealing something that you weren't aware of, which is something that would be much more visible with a red dot. You have that sight below the actual dot, so you can basically see below your target. You can't do that with any iron sight. Ultimately though, the fun part of this kit was using the smoke grenade launcher, just being able to put down that visible field of cover, allowing teammates to push up, allowing myself to sort of flank around, or even distract the enemy. If the enemy sees a big cloud of smoke, they're gonna look at it. It's just such a great distracting tool. I wish DICE didn't make me give up the med pack in order to use it, and I'm sure that's a reason why you just don't see it used quite as much in your average rush games or conquest game modes. So that wraps it up for this episode of Loadout. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave your comments down below letting me know what kind of gun and accessories you'd like me to run with for the next episode. And I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.